So here we'll start a 1 mile hike around this other portion. So we're probably somewhere around here, I think. We'll be walking around like that. Going from right where my thumb is along that aqua line, along the right, and then over towards the left and back. These are described as the pond areas inside the earthworks. Known why they were created, although frankly it seems fairly obvious that they could be for burrow pits for the dirt to make the mounds with. The size of what I think is an oak tree. Yes, it is. Isn't that massive? Imagine when the eastern United States was covered with trees of this size, because they'd had thousands of years to grow unmolested. There's 3 drawings of mounds. I'll visit the Serpent Mound. We are at the Great Gateway at Fort Ancient, and that Great Gateway may be what we just drove through. I do recall there was a little mound off to the right. I think it says Aztec Temple Mound, South Central America, but I think, not sure, but it may be the Temple of the Moon at Teotihuacan, Mexico City, or outside of Mexico, about 50 miles actually. Telling us that we're now standing inside of an earthworks built maybe 2,000 years ago by the prehistoric Hopewell Indians. So there were apparently walls around the area that we're standing in right now, and this may have been a raised area. This may be it. The mounds themselves may have acted like some kind of wall. My reckoning is correct. This map is about correct. If we look back where we've come from, up here somewhere was where the interpretive center was, and we're walking down in here somewhere. This is that twin mounds with that area that we couldn't find. And I'm not sure if what I just showed you is that earthwork, or if we're about to walk through it and it's much larger. Anyway, we're going to follow the Eagle Trail. I think the Eagle Trail is where 17 is. We're going off to the right of that. Okay, we're up at the north overlook, and we're going to take the Eagle Trail, which just takes us down to the Miami River. That must be, perhaps, is number 71. US 71 in the distance there. I guess as we go down here and come all the way back. Now we'll continue our hike along the Earthworks Trail. So presumably the earthworks with the walls around it are much greater in this grassy area we first looked at. From the walking back there that I've done, I don't see evidence of there being any mounds or earthwork, but I'm going to walk perpendicular to the trail and see if in fact we're on the top edge of a mound. I'm curious if I've encountered another trail, whether I've cut across there to this trail or not, I don't know, so I'll just walk directly back and continue and see if I come out at this point. There's the trail I cut across to. This trail continues, but a trail goes to the right, which looks like it's mounds. And yes, I think it is. So let's go. Certainly on top of a long mound. All of these mounds that form the perimeter are apparently long sausages, if you will. Ooh, pretty black butterfly. And there's our next mound. Appears to be a trail on top of the mound, so I'll follow it. Like everything to my left is considered inside the earthworks, and the earthworks are in fact the sausage string of mounds. Possible that all this interior here was devoid of most of the trees and had homes and other structures and playing fields, etc., in there. The Works Trail goes this way. The mounds have taken a left turn, taking us back. Here we see more relatively shallow earthworks here. You wonder as neighborhoods expanded, were they digging up the earlier perimeter mounds and moving them out a couple hundred feet? Now here you notice that the mounds go down into that steep gully. On that side, we'll look to see if they come up that side. This whole area is covered by the till from the 200,000 year ago Illinois glacier. And this surface is mud, when it gets wet, is so slick that it's difficult to walk on and makes erosion very, very easy. It's possible that the last mound we saw on the other side was right over there, because this looks like a mound here coming up that steep hillside. Generally going to the right towards the south again, there are sausages on my right, and I think they hook and go east right dead ahead of us. About there is where the sign was for the Eagle Rock Trail hike down to the river, and we've hiked around this way. We're now down here at 13, which is the southern outlook, or overlook, excuse me. There is that area looking back up. We can't see the overlook. It's going to be to our left, the north overlook, behind those trees. But notice how level this is. Doesn't it remind you of the front area of Monk's Mound at Cahokia? Yep. And what I wonder is, did it have a palisade, or is that what these sausage mounds are for? The average expectancy was 30 to 35 years for men, less for women. They worked harder. But some people lived to be 60. Many died young. Average height 5'7", 5'3" for women. Individuals 6 feet tall were not uncommon. So oftentimes, if they were not cremated, or even if they were, their bones were placed in a small little cavity, sometimes underneath the floor of an existing building, and then covered with soil. And then when there were several grave sites there, they then burned down the building and covered it with a shallow mound. The use of limestone caps and slabs lining the graves and sometimes covering them. Considering the topography that we've seen, sometimes gouged with pretty deep little gorges, you can imagine the effort it took to level this huge area.